In scene 3, we begin to see the complexities building. We see Desdemona and Cassio talking about his desire to, get back in the good graces with her husband and all that she will do for him to help him, in fact, get his position back.
Be thou assured, good Cassio, I will do all my abilities in thy behalf.
Good madam, do. I warrant it grieves my husband as if the cause were his.
Oh, that's an honest fellow. Do not doubt, Cassio, but I will have my lord and you again as friendly as you were.
Bounteous madam, whatever shall become of Michael Cassio, he's never anything but your true servant.
I know it. I thank you. You do love my lord. You have known him long, and be you well assured he shall in strangeness stand no farther off than in a politic distance.
Okay, first of all, Desdemona says, I'll do everything that I can in my abilities on your behalf. I'll do all I can, which is committing quite a bit to this. Okay, but remember, she's a friendly woman. She's trying to be good and kind to everybody she's around, right? That's her idea. Emilia has this interesting comment about her husband. Yes, please do that, because my husband, Iago, is grieved by this as if the cause were his. He feels so bad about Cassio losing this position. It's almost like he lost it himself. Sort of an ironic twist of phrase, because he actually is upset that he lost this position himself. And Desdemona says, oh, your husband, he's such an honest fellow. Don't worry, Cassio, I'll do my best. And Cassio says, I'm your servant forever. Now, when Desdemona says this at the end, she's reiterating what we've already heard. Othello is holding Cassio in strangeness. He's holding him off in a distance that is politically appropriate. The damage that Cassio did to the relationship between, say, Venice and Cyprus by attacking the governor, that's what's really causing him to fire Cassio. And so, again, this is Othello doing what is proper, doing what he has to do sort of for political reasons. And Cassio says, oh, yeah, but I don't know how it's going to go. Who knows how long he might feel it's appropriate. Let's hear.
Aye, but, lady, that policy may either last so long, or feed upon such nice and waterish diet, or breed itself so out of circumstance, that I being absent, and my place supplied, my general will forget my love and service.
Do not doubt that. Before Emilia here, I give thee warrant of thy place. Assure thee, if I do vow a friendship, I'll perform it to the last article. My lord shall never rest. I'll watch him tame and talk him out of patience. His bed shall seem a school, his board a shrift. I'll intermingle everything he does with Cassio's suit. Therefore be merry, Cassio, for thy solicitor shall rather die than give thy cause away.
Madam, here comes my lord.
Madam, I'll take my leave.
Why?
Now, you see how she's committing to this. I will do absolutely everything. I'll talk to him at every possible moment. I won't let him rest, but I'll talk about you. Now, I don't know about you, but this seems like a very ignorant way to approach this. This woman is very young, very innocent, but this is downright ignorant, isn't it? I'm going to talk to my husband about you all I can, and that's going to make him feel good about you. That's her thoughts.
Stay and hear me speak.
Madam, not now. I'm very ill at ease, unfit for mine own purposes.
Well, do your discretion.
I like not that.
What dost thou say?
Nothing, my lord. Or if it... I don't know what.
Was not that Cassio parted from my wife?
Cassio, my lord? No, sure, I cannot think it that he would steal away so guilty-like, seeing your coming.
I do believe 'twas he.
How now, my lord? I have been talking with a suitor here, a man that languishes in your displeasure.
Who is to mean?
Why, your Lieutenant Cassio. Good my lord, if I have any grace or power to move you, his present reconciliation take. For if he be not one that truly loves you, that errs in ignorance and not in cunning, I have no judgment in an honest face. I prithee, call him back.
Went he hence now?
Yes, Faith. So humbled that he hath left part of his grief with me to suffer with him. Good love, call him back.
No.
Now, a couple of things here. When Iago and Othello enter the stage, they are talking to themselves as they're walking up to Desdemona. And Iago immediately is putting suspicion in Othello's ear. He is saying, oh, I don't like that. And Othello asks, was that Cassio? And Iago says, oh, it couldn't have been. Why would he walk away so guilty like? Okay. So when Othello comes up to Desdemona, she says she's been talking with a suitor, and that's sort of a loaded word. Normally, that would mean someone who is pursuing for marriage. Like Othello was Desdemona's suitor when he was trying to woo her into marriage. So it's probably not a good word to use here, but it really just means a person who's pursuing some end. In general, he is pursuing an end. It's just not her. But for her to say he's a suitor is a little bit, it's a bad way to use the word for her. Notice again, she says, he must have made a mistake to lose your kindness. He did it out of ignorance, not out of cunning. He made a mistake, right? Now she says, if he didn't do that, then I have no judgment in an honest face. I can't tell a good person from a bad person. Like you were calling Iago an honest guy earlier. She says, call him back. He's left his grief with me to bring to you. He really wants to get his position back. And Othello says, yeah, I'll talk to him sometime. Don't worry about it. And she insists. And he says, yeah, I will. She insists. And he goes, well, okay, I will. She insists. Okay, fine, I will. Just not right now. It's sort of suspicious if you look at it from, I don't know, Othello's point of view. If you have Iago telling you it looks suspicious, it's really going to feel suspicious.
Not now, sweet Desdemona, some other time.
But shalt be shortly?
The sooner sweet for you.
Shalt be tonight at supper?
No, not tonight.
Tomorrow dinner, then?
I shall not dine at home. I meet the captains at the citadel.
Why, then, tomorrow night? Or Tuesday morn? Or Tuesday noon or night? Or Wednesday morn? I prithee, name the time. But let it not exceed 3 days. I'faith, he's penitent. And yet his trespass, in our common reason, save that they say the wars must make examples out of their best, is not almost a fault to incur a private check. When shall he come? Tell me, Othello. I wonder in my soul what you could ask me that I should deny or stand so mammering on. What, Michael Cassio, that came a-wooing with you, and so many a time, when I have spoke of you dispraisingly, hath ta'en your part, to have so much to do to bring him in? By Our Lady, I could do much.
Prithee, no more. Let him come when he will. I will deny thee nothing.
Now here's an interesting point. She says, oh, come on. Why are you making me wait so long for this? Why are you putting me off in talking to him? And she says, this is that Michael Cassio that used to come with you to Dad's house. And I have spoken to him before, and he would praise you when I would say that you did something wrong. Okay? So these three actually do know each other. She knows Cassio, and she has had experience with him back before they were married. Now, I mean, they knew each other, but that fact that he was around back then, that's something that can be used against him. Okay? This is a complex relationship between these three, and Iago knows it, and he knows how to use it. And so finally he says, okay, you're right, fine. Just tell him whenever he wants to talk to me, I'll talk with him because of you. And she says, this isn't even a gift. This is because there's no good reason for you to not do this. So you're not even doing me a favor by this.
Why, this is not a boon. 'Tis as I should entreat you wear your gloves, or feed on nourishing dishes, or keep you warm, or suitor you to do a peculiar profit to your own person. Nay, when I have a suit wherein I mean to touch your love indeed, it shall be full of poise and difficult weight, and fearful to be granted.
I will deny thee nothing, whereon I do beseech thee grant me this, to leave me but a little to myself.
Shall I deny you? No. Farewell, my lord.
Farewell, my Desdemona. I'll come to thee straight.
Amelia, come. Be as your fancies teach you, whate'er you be. I am obedient.
He says, okay, thanks. All right, just leave me alone for a while, okay? Just go. And she does. And Othello is standing here now talking with Iago about his wife. So here's where we see how Iago twists what's going on to make Othello suspicious. Listen for how it works.
Excellent wretch, perdition catch my soul, but I do love thee. And when I love thee not, chaos is come again.
My noble lord,
What dost thou say, Iago?
did Michael Cassio, when you wooed my lady, know of your love?
He did, from first to last. Why dost thou ask?
But for a satisfaction of my thought, no further harm.
Why of thy thought, Iago?
I did not think he had been acquainted with her.
Oh, yes, and went between us very oft.
Indeed.
Indeed, indeed. Discernst thou aught in that? Is he not honest?
Honest, my lord?
Honest, honest.
My lord, for aught I know.
What dost thou think?
Think, my lord.
Think, my lord? By heaven, he echoes me as if there was some monster in his thought too hideous to be shown. Thou dost mean something. I heard thee say even now, thou likest not that when Cassio left my wife. What didst not like? And when I told thee he was of my counsel in my whole course of wooing, thou criedst, indeed, and didst contract and purse thy brow together, as if thou then hadst shut up in thy brain some horrible conceit. If thou dost love me, show me thy thought.
My lord, you know I love you.
I think thou dost, and for I know thou art full of love and honesty, and weighest thy words before thou givest them breath. Therefore these stops of thine fright me the more. For such things in a false disloyal knave are tricks of custom, but in a man that's just, they are close dilations working from the heart that passion cannot rule.
For Michael Cassio, I dare be sworn I think that he is honest.
I think so too.
Men should be what they seem, or those that be not, but they might seem none.
Certain. Men should be what they seem.
Why then? I think Cassio's an honest man.
So, Iago begins casting doubt in Othello. He starts by saying, hey, wait a minute. He was with you when you were dating Desdemona? Yeah, I didn't know that. Yeah, as a matter of fact, he often would go between us and, give messages back and forth. Othello says, indeed, you don't think he's honest? Honest? Yeah, honest. And when he sort of is echoing him, Othello says, come on, now, you have to be thinking something, otherwise you wouldn't be hiding something. You're acting as if you don't want to say something. Tell me what you're thinking. And then he says this is an important thing for us to see him say. The people who feel something important and don't say it, those people you can't really trust. To do that is not an easy thing for an honest person, a person that's just. That's what disloyal knaves do. He doesn't realize Iago is a disloyal knave. He says that's what they do. People who are just, like you, Iago, they work from a heart that their passion cannot rule. Now, if you recall earlier, when Iago was talking with Rodrigo, he said that your passion, your emotions, are a garden ruled by your mind or your will, okay? So Shakespeare is very specifically using that same analogy here so that we recognize the evil, and we recognize that this is sort of a common thought, right? That if you can't control yourself, you are probably more honest than if you can control yourself. If you can control yourself, you're probably doing it to be mean or nasty. And this actually helps us to understand Desdemona and Othello a little bit more, because they kind of can't control themselves around each other, can they? They can't hide anything. So as they go on, Othello says, okay, Cassio does seem like an honest person, because Iago said that. And Iago says, yep, and people should seem like they are. They shouldn't hide things. Othello says, that's true. And Iago says, yes. Okay, so then, yes, Cassio seems like an honest person.
Nay, yet there's more in this. I prithee, speak to me as to thy thinkings, as thou dost ruminate, and give thy worst of thoughts the worst of words.
Good my lord, pardon me. Though I am bound to every act of duty, I am not bound to that all slaves are free to. Utter my thoughts. Why, say they are vile and false. As where's that palace whereinto foul things sometimes intrude not? Who has a breast so pure, but some uncleanly apprehensions keep leets and law days and in sessions sit with meditations lawful?
Thou dost conspire against thy friend Iago, if thou but thinkst him wrong and makest his ear a stranger to thy thoughts.
I do beseech you. Though I perchance am vicious in my guess, as I confess, it is my nature's plague to spy into abuses, and oft my jealousy shapes faults that are not. That your wisdom, yet from one that so imperfectly conjects, would take no notice, nor build yourself a trouble out of his scattering and unsure observance.
Now, when Iago says this, Othello says, you're not telling me all of your thoughts. And Iago has this interesting comment. He says, yeah, I'm not bound to tell you all of my thoughts. I have some freedom, don't I? You know, even slaves can keep their own thoughts to themselves. But every once in a while, even a good person like me has a foul thought that sits in his head for a little while. And I don't want to tell you those. And Othello says, you're conspiring against a friend that you don't help out by telling him what you're suspicious about. When in fact, he is conspiring against his friend by telling him what is suspicious. Irony. Okay? And Iago says, okay, I'll tell you what I think, but I don't want you to build any opinions on my scattering and unsure observance. I don't want you to do anything rash based on what I think. It's only because I know you're good and because I'm honest that I'll tell you my thoughts.
It were not for your quiet, nor your good, nor for my manhood, honesty, and wisdom, to let you know my thoughts.
What dost thou mean?
Good name in man and woman, dear my lord, is the immediate jewel of their souls. Who steals my purse steals trash. 'Tis something, nothing, 'tis mine, 'tis his, and has been slave to thousands. But he that filches from me my good name robs me of that which not enriches him and makes me poor indeed.
By heaven, I'll know thy thoughts.
You cannot, if my heart were in your hand, nor shall not, whilst 'tis in my custody.
Huh?
Ah, beware, my lord, of jealousy. It is the green-eyed monster.
Before they start talking about jealousy, I just want to mention this again. Remember, Cassio said, I've lost my reputation. That's the horrible thing. And so Iago kind of brings that up here when he's talking with Othello. He says, you know, someone who steals my jewels or my gold, they're just stealing stuff that I own. But the person that steals from me my good name, my reputation, is taking from me something that can't do him any good, but it does make me poor. It's like, if you steal my gold, you get my gold, and you get to go and be rich with it. If you steal my reputation, you have nothing to benefit from that. So that's cruelty. Yeah, Iago, that's exactly what you're doing right now. And he says, I don't want to do that, so that's why I'm hesitating. But, of course, that's literally what he's doing. So now, Othello is suspicious because his friend Iago is resisting telling him of his suspicions of Cassio. Okay, So what is he suspicious about Cassio? Well, we'll get to the point where he's explains the suspicion that he's, messing around with your wife. But we have to talk about this idea of jealousy first. So Iago wants to talk about jealousy. He wants to help Othello avoid jealousy. It's a green-eyed monster. So how does he do this? Okay, he brings up, there's two possibilities, he says. There are two kinds of people, and you can kind of choose which one you are. In order to understand these two type of people, we have to know what a cuckold is. I think I mentioned earlier, that's the man whose wife is having an affair. He is the cuckold. He's being cuckolded by this guy, and his wife is having an affair on him. Okay? Now, what Iago says is the guy who is in this situation is happy if he knows that it's going on and he does not love the wronger. If he doesn't love her, then he's living in bliss. He knows what's going on, but he doesn't really love her anymore. He's gotten over it. He lives in bliss. He's happy. The guy who lives in damned minutes over and over and over is the guy who's in the same situation, but he actually dotes over the woman and believes and suspects that this is going on, but he can't get over the fact that she doesn't love him anymore. He won't give up on her. To avoid jealousy, just admit the treason and accept it. You can't change it. Accept the situation and don't love her anymore. That's the way you get around jealousy.
Beware, my lord, of jealousy. It is the green-eyed monster which doth mock the meat it feeds on. That cuckold lives in bliss, who, certain of his fate, loves not his wronger. But oh, what damned minutes tells he, who dotes, yet doubts, suspects, yet strongly loves.
Oh, misery.
Poor and content is rich, and rich enough, but riches fineless is as poor as winter to him that ever fears he shall be poor. Good God, the souls of all my tribe defend from jealousy.
Why? Why is this? Thinkst thou I'd make a life of jealousy? To follow still the changes of the moon with fresh suspicions? No. To be once in doubt is once to be resolved. Exchange me for a goat, when I shall turn the business of my soul to such exsufflicate and blown surmises matching this inference. 'Tis not to make me jealous to say, my wife is fair, feeds well, loves company, is free of speech, sings, plays, and dances. Where virtue is, these are more virtuous. Nor from mine own weak merits will I draw the smallest fear or doubt of her revolt. For she had eyes and chose me. No, Iago, I'll see before I doubt. When I doubt, prove. And on the proof, there is no more but this. Away at once with love or jealousy.
Okay, so you see what he's saying here is there's no living one way and fearing something else. Once you know something, you act on it. Okay? Do you think that I would sit there and be jealous like the one guy you described? No. If I am in doubt about something, I get it resolved. If there's a problem, it'll be dealt with. First of all, it's not something that makes me jealous. If you say my wife is lovely, yeah, she is. That was why I married her. And on top of that, it's not jealousy if you tell me that I'm not good enough for her and so she's wandering, her eyes are wandering. No, she picked me. She's beautiful, that's why I married her. She married me in spite of me being not very desirable. If I think something is going on, I need to see it before I believe it. And when I do believe it, I'm not going to either love or be jealous. It's going to end right then. So, that's all there is to it. You don't worry about me being jealous.
I am glad of this. For now I shall have reason to show the love and duty that I bear you with franker spirit. Therefore, as I am bound, receive it from me. I speak not yet of proof. Look to your wife. Observe her well with Cassio. Were your eyes thus, not jealous nor secure, I would not have your free and noble nature out of self-bounty be abused. Look to it. I know our country disposition well. In Venice they do let God see the pranks they dare not show their husbands. Their best conscience is not to leave undone, but keep unknown.
Dost thou say so?
She did deceive her father, marrying you. And when she seemed to shake and fear your looks, she loved them most.
Okay, so he says, all right, I'm glad that you're this way. I'm glad that you'll simply act. You won't just live in misery, because I wouldn't want to put you in misery, right? So I'm bound now to tell you the truth. Look to your wife. Pay attention to her. And watch out for Cassio. You know, in Venice, people are very relaxed about their morals. You probably don't know that, you're a foreigner, but that's the way they are. It's better to keep it unknown rather than keep it undone. Go ahead and do the naughty stuff, but just don't tell anyone. And Othello says, what? And Iago brings this up. This should sound familiar. She did deceive her father, marrying you. So why wouldn't she deceive you? That's exactly what he said about his daughter.
And so she did.
Why go to then? She that, so young, could give out such a seeming to seal her father's eyes up close as oak. He thought 'twas witchcraft. But I am much to blame. I humbly do beseech you of your pardon for too much loving you. See you.
I am bound to thee forever.
I see this hath a little dashed your spirits.
Not a jot. Not a jot.
In faith, I fear it has. I hope you will consider what is spoke comes from my love. But I do see you unmoved. I am to pray you not to strain my speech to grosser issues, nor to larger reach than to suspicion.
I will not.
Should you do so, my lord, my speech should fall into such vile success as my thought aim not at. Cassio's my worthy friend. Oh, my lord, I see you unmoved.
No, not much moved. I do not think Desdemona is honest.
Long live she so, and long live you to think so.
And yet, oh, nature, erring from itself.
There's the point.
He says, remember, her father he thought it was witchcraft that needed to happen in order for her to deceive him. She ended up coming to you as though she was bewitched. What would it take to lure her away? Iago says, don't think that I know anything. Don't take my speech for any more than just suspicion. Interestingly, the way he phrases it, he says, if you think of what I'm saying more than just me, telling you a rumor, then my speech would have such vile success which my thoughts aim not at, right? Then my speech will accomplish a horrible ending, more horrible than I could ever think of. It's like he's thinking to himself, this could go much better than I ever planned. But he says out loud, oh, don't follow what I'm saying because things might get horrible then. As Othello and Iago talk further, you hear Othello trying to convince himself that he shouldn't be suspicious.
There's the point. As to be bold with you, not to affect many proposed matches of her own clime, complexion, and degree, whereto we see in all things nature tends. One may smell in such a will most rank, foul disproportions, thoughts unnatural, But pardon me, I do not in position distinctly speak of her. Though I may fear her will, recoiling to her better judgment, may fall to match you with her country forms, and happily repent.
Farewell, farewell. If more thou dost perceive, let me know more. Set on thy wife to observe. Leave me, Iago.
My lord, I take my leave.
Why did I marry? This honest creature doubtless sees and knows more, much more than he unfolds.
My lord, I would I might entreat your honour to scan this thing no further. Leave it to time. Although, 'tis fit that Cassio have his place, for sure he filled it up with great ability. Yet, if you please to hold him off a while, you shall by that perceive him and his means. Note if your lady strain his entertainment with any strong or vehement importunity. Much will be seen in that. In the meantime, let me be thought too busy in my fears, as worthy cause I have to fear I am, and hold her free. I do beseech your honour.
Fear not my government.
I once more take my leave.
And now he exits. Now the last thing he said here. Remember, Othello said to Desdemona, tell Cassio to come and talk to me. It'll be fine. I'll let him in right away. No problem. I'll bring him back into his position because that's what you want. And here Iago says, you know what you should do is not bring Cassio back right away and see how much that upsets her. See if she goes a little crazy about that. See if she's vehement in her begging to bring him back. You know, see how much she really cares for him. And Othello is thinking about that. And Iago heads off. And this leaves us with Othello in soliloquy. Remember, the soliloquy is his deepest thoughts. That's always the truth of the character.